Ooh, that looks tasty. Welcome folks to the Hungry Gamers, back with another mini preview, and today we're talking about So You've Been Cursed, designed by Scott Almes, with art by Quantra Maria, and published by Luda Creations. Now, this is a game that is currently on crowdfunding. It maybe has a week to go. And that's also why this is a mini preview, because quite frankly, since I've been back from Gen Con, it has just been constant stuff going on. And it didn't help that I was sick for part of it. And Michael Kelly has been kind enough to allow me to use some of his footage from his one-stop co-op shop video, and that's going to kind of be playing up here in the corner. And in that video, he's playing as the monster. And clearly it is the solo mode that he is playing. Now, what this game is this is a kind of a riff on So You've Been Eaten from a few years ago, in which each player is playing a somewhat asymmetric faction. In this case, one player is playing a wizard, and the other player is playing the werewolf. The catch is, though, the wizard is the werewolf, so every night you actually flip the meeple over, and it turns into the werewolf. And the werewolf is trying to take control forever and always be a monster, and the wizard is trying to cure themselves. And to do this, you are doing kind of a recipe fulfillment game for the wizard, and then for the werewolf, you are doing this, well, you're just eating as many things as you can, but it's kind of a set collection game. You're trying to eat certain sets of villagers, and that's going to increase the curse value. If you get the curse value all the way up, you will win the game. And at its core, it's a relatively simple game. Each turn, you're going to be able to move yourself around the region that you're in. If you are the wizard and you want to kind of cross over to a different colored region, you have to pay a tax to kind of move a little further. And as the wizard, you're going to be spending money to buy ingredients. And then you're using these ingredients to mix potions that will eventually cure you. At the same time, you're going to be able to cast these different spells, and these different spells will do all kinds of different things. Maybe it helps you, maybe it hurts the werewolf, and that's also going to be how you earn more money. So again, you can move around further and buy different ingredients. At the same time, you can also do a little bit of thievery and kind of steal coins from people. I guess you're not a very good wizard, so who cares if you can cure it? I don't know. While the werewolf, you're doing roughly the same thing. Get it? Rough werewolf. You don't know, funny. But you're doing roughly the same thing, and you're moving around, except instead you're going to places and you are eating the people that are there, and they go into one of your mini stomachs, and then at the end of the round, depending on who you've eaten, that increases the curse value. And the werewolf, like the wizard that's doing spells, has these different powers that they're going to play. And these powers, again, will do things that are going to boost it permanently, give a quick one-time boost, are going to hurt the wizard, and so on and so on. And you're just playing back and forth until one of you manages to outthink the other. And I just want to point out that the kind of the core part of the puzzle to me is that you're using the same meeple, the same one. So you're the wizard, great. Then you turn it around, on the reverse side there is the werewolf. And now it's going to go. So wherever the wizard ends his turn is where the werewolf starts its. Then whenever the werewolf ends its turn, that's where the wizard's going to start. So there's a little bit of kind of puzzle gamemanship that you're playing there as you're kind of moving around and trying to have the other player start in a bad spot. But that's kind of the core of how this game works. So what do I like about this game? The first thing I'll say is the deluxe version, which is the prototype that was sent on to me. I don't think I get to keep this, but is the version. It looks really, really nice. It's really, really good looking. I really like the way it looks. I also really enjoy the theme, whereas in So You've Been Eaten, which was fun, you're kind of digging into a monster's guts and getting stuff, and that was kind of cool. But this one, the fact that you're playing the same character, trying to cure yourself or take control forever, very Jekyll and Hyde, it just works. It just really works well, and I really enjoy that. And I loved a little bit how the wizard's kind of a jerk, or maybe he's just desperate. I think that adds for an interesting element to the game. I didn't even mention that there's sheep that you can eat, which is just delightful. I mean, the wizard doesn't eat the sheep, the monster eats the sheep, but I think it just works really well. I also like the two different ways that you're playing. Yes, you're both just doing kind of recipe fulfillment, but it's this kind of set collection game for the werewolf while you're doing this more traditional recipe fulfillment for the wizard. And they're similar enough that you can easily learn and jump on either side, but they're different enough to keep it interesting. I think that works really well. I think where the game shines, though, outside of the single meeple that you're moving, is the powers. There's a good variety of powers. They do different things. The ways you get rid of them, if they're affecting you, are different and unique, and I really think it makes the game interesting on replays. I also think that there's a really interesting sense of urgency that builds as the game goes. The tension definitely ramps up, and in the best way. Finally, I'm going to end with the two different solo modes I think are very clever. I spent more time playing as the wizard than as the werewolf, but just the way you're flipping out cards, and even then it becomes a little puzzle of, okay, I'm going to use these cards, and this speaking as playing the wizard, I'm going to use these cards, but by using these cards, that's going to give the werewolf access to these powers, and this is what it's going to do. And they're very interesting little puzzles that you're playing. They feel like a puzzle that you're trying to solve, less than a kind of a head-to-head thing, but it is very interesting and they are enjoyable. So what are my quibbles with the game? The first one is, really to me, two-player is where this game is at. Going up against somebody, trying to outthink them, trying to react to them, having you start in a bad place, I think that's just where this game shines. It is a very, very clever two-player game. The solos are fun, but the solos will start to feel samey after a little while, I think. And so I guess what I'm saying here is if you are just going to get this game for solo play, I'd say check out Michael Kelly's solo video and just see if that's the kind of puzzle that you're going to enjoy playing over and over again. And he doesn't show the wizard, but it is a similar vibe, though again, it does feel like a different game. It is two different puzzles that you're working on. Then the last thing I'm going to say is this is very clearly a skill game. And I say that sometimes. What I mean by that is if you play somebody that's played this before, you're going to get waxed. It's just how it's going to be. There's no catch-up mechanism. There's none of that. And again, that's not necessarily a bad thing. But it is something that just be aware of. If someone's already played this a few times, the first time you play it, they're going to win. Unless they're being really nice to you. So just understand that. But if you're playing with somebody and you're both just playing together back and forth, it's going to be very interesting and very tense games, and you'll be kind of looking for that break, and it's very, very satisfying, I think. So there you have it, folks. That is So You've Been Cursed. Follow up to So You've Been Eaten. For my money, I like this one more than I liked So You've Been Eaten, and that might just be theme-wise, but I really, really love the way that you're using that same meeple, and that's where each player starts each time. I think that just really, really works well. So there you have it, folks. As always, if you found this video useful, please like, subscribe, share, maybe become a channel member. As always, thank you so much for watching. Have a wonderful, wonderful day.